Democrats now want to investigate James Comer. James Comer is getting a little bit too close for comfort. He has the Biden whistleblowers testifying in front of Congress. He's also had contact with this guy, Gal Luft. Gal Luft apparently has got a lot of evidence about Biden crime family criminality because he may have been in the transactions right next to Hunter Biden. They were both apparently working with CEFC, a Chinese energy company. And so now that Gal Luft has come out and exposed the Biden crime family, the DOJ is prosecuting him. They unsealed their indictment, and now the Democrats are saying that Comer colluding with Gal Luft is Comer colluding with a criminal, and that now James Comer, a sitting member in Congress, needs to be investigated over this. And so we see that the escalation just continues on and on and on. Before we know it, Congress is going to be prosecuting each other or sicking the DOJ on each other, even though, of course, they're Congress people with legislative immunity. But this is the level we're getting to. Hunter and Joe and the Biden family create a bunch of crimes. Somebody blows the whistle on them, and the Republicans are the bad guys for colluding with the whistleblower. That's the Democratic mindset we're going to listen to. Here is Representative Garcia. This is him explaining this take.
That's exactly right. I think first, let's be very clear. There has been zero evidence linking the president to any sort of mishandling or crimes as it relates to all these accusations that the Republicans have been throwing at them. What is very apparent is that this informant, who has apparently been working at some level with either Chairman Comer or committee staff and other Republicans, and I think, you've had Marjorie Taylor Greene and others also hype up this informant as very credible.
Marjorie too.
Which, when we know he's actually a criminal that's likely selling arms to our adversaries.
Hey, what about the presumption of innocence there, buddy?
And so this deserves an investigation. We should be investigating James Comer and his actions here. And so I think what's very clear is that James Comer is only interested in going on Fox News and serving as Donald Trump's spokesperson. He's doing the bidding of the Donald Trump campaign. This whole agenda about trying to take on the president for doing absolutely nothing and attacking the president's family, conspiracy theory after conspiracy theory, they continue to be debunked. And so he's doing the bidding of the Donald Trump campaign on the taxpayer dime.
So would you support releasing all of those FD 1023 documents and the other FD documents? They'll clearly exonerate Hunter and Joe, right? There's nothing here. So why don't we take a look at all of the materials?
And it's not acceptable. So those of us on the House Oversight Committee are going to continue to push back every single time against these lies and this complete waste of taxpayer resources. And by the way, Michael, we're going to see it again this week. James Comer apparently has more quote-unquote whistleblowers that he's going to bring to the Hill to go on and on about crazy conspiracy theories. It's the same thing over and over.
So now the Democrats are literally threatening their colleagues in Congress with investigations, maybe by Congress, maybe by the FBI, maybe by the DOJ, all because they're exposing his team's criminality. That's what these people do. They want to censor you off of Twitter or off of Facebook, get you strikes on YouTube, whatever they can do to silence you. And if you're even a member of Congress, you should be investigated. And it's not just Garcia, it's Raskin too.
What information are you seeking about James Comer's involvement with Luft, and what do you really want to know?
Well, look, Gal Luft was supposed to be the star witness in arraigning Joe Biden on the old Giuliani charges of a fake Ukrainian bribery scandal. And it turns out that Luft was missing, as Chairman Comer kept saying. The reason he was missing is because he's a fugitive from justice. He's on the run around the world away from the U.S. government. And this was going to be the star witness against Joe Biden. And what I'm afraid has happened, Jen, is that the Trump party has created such a topsy-turvy world that we're getting real low-life characters like George Santos, like Donald Trump, like Gal Luft, who say, I think I'm going to be able to launder all of my crimes and wrap myself in the production of the Republican Party. They see targets
of people they could go after to help them.
That's right.
And so how concerned are you that James Comer was the chairman of the committee, was knowingly, unknowingly working with, co-opted by a foreign agent?
Yeah. I'm just concerned that the House Oversight Committee, which has a very proud history with, Congressman Waxman as chair, the great Elijah Cummings of Maryland as chair, is suddenly being compromised in a really serious way. Our legitimacy is being eroded by the tactics adopted by Chairman Comer. They essentially have said, we will validate anybody who will say anything about the Bidens. And of course, they haven't laid a glove on President Biden. There are real issues that are confronting our people, and they're off on this wild goose chase related to Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, and their main witnesses are people who are fleeing justice in America.
Yeah, because they're being prosecuted by your corrupt DOJ. Your enforcers, who don't even allow the Biden name to be brought out during trials, are covering for the Biden crime family. Obviously, Gal Luft is not going to come back because the DOJ is a corrupt, garbage prosecuting agency. So is the DC Circuit Court. He knows that, so he's not going to come back. But Raskin will continue on this fantasy that Joe Biden is as clean as the wind-driven snow, and the only person who's really corrupt here is James Comer. Never mind Hunter Biden. Has he even seen the laptop? Has he even any idea what's on there or what was involved here at all? Seems like he's just in a deluded little world, and Jen Psaki is happy to indulge him, unfortunately for her. So we've got reaction to this. James Comer says the whistleblowers are testifying soon. These people are very credible. In fact, 2 of them have come from the IRS, and there are new rumors today that apparently an FBI agent might also be emerging as somebody who's going to corroborate the whistleblowers' claims, as somebody who may have been on that team. More will be revealed on that one. But here is Comer explaining more about what's happening with these whistleblowers.
We've learned, obviously, there have been more bank transactions. This family's been receiving money from all over the planet. I think everyone knows that watches Fox News, but unfortunately, people that get their news from other outlets aren't as educated on it. So Wednesday, we're bringing the whistleblowers in. These are very credible career IRS employees who have never blown the whistle on anything. One is a very partisan registered Democrat, so we're excited that it's going to be a bipartisan panel. We're going to be able to ask them very specific, substantive questions about crimes that have been committed by various members of the Biden family. There's a lot of talk back and forth about, well, they should have been charged with money laundering, or they should have been charged with wire fraud, or they should have been an unregistered foreign agent. What level of tax evasion did they really have? We're going to be able to dive into that in a public setting where every American's going to have the opportunity to watch this hearing live.
Good.
And I think that the American people are going to be very satisfied with the answers that we get. And I'm excited, Maria, because we found all these shell companies that make absolutely no sense. I don't believe they've paid a penny of revenue, a penny of taxes on most of this millions of dollars that they've received from our adversaries around the world. But then the question is, what did they do to receive this money? How did they list that on their taxes? As a service they provided, as a capital investment? We don't know. So if you're into finance, like most of your viewers are, this should be a good substantive committee hearing that will allow us to move forward in the deposition process when we bring these individuals that were helping the Bidens funnel and launder this money. We'll be able to ask them specific questions about specific transactions.
Have you been able to identify specific policy decisions that Joe Biden made as a reason to get paid? For example, he came into the White House at the beginning of his term and he canceled the China initiative, which was an initiative to indict people who were sending information to the CCP while they surveilled us and spied on us. Was he paid for that decision?
And the Ukraine prosecutor that got fired.
You look who President Biden had go in and advocate for that was the then president of the University of Pennsylvania, who he's now made an ambassador to Germany. But remember, what we've learned is University of Pennsylvania was the recipient of tens of millions of dollars of anonymous donations from China. So who better to go and advocate to abandon the China initiative, which was an FBI investigation into the massive Chinese spy ring that China has at our colleges and universities that conduct research, where American taxpayers subsidize this research and development, and Chinese students steal that technology, steal that information, and send it back to China. Every American should want that stopped, but Joe Biden ended the FBI's investigation into that with someone who's received tens of millions of dollars from China, just like Joe Biden. That is a bad decision for the American people. That puts China first and America last. Then you look at what all happened with Burisma, with firing the prosecutor. That we've talked about that in the past, but I think you're going to see more and more evidence come forward that Joe Biden had a lot more knowledge about Burisma than what he's ever claimed. So I think that we're now at the phase of the investigation where we've accumulated enough bank records to where we can ask these IRS employees specific substantive questions and now bring the people in for depositions and say, what triggered this wire transfer from China? What triggered this wire transfer from Romania?
Nice.
And why did you launder it through all these shell companies? Why didn't they just send it directly to the Bidens? We're going to be able to answer those questions publicly to where every American can see it.
Good news. All right. So James Comer, long road ahead. This is a complex network of crimes from the Biden crime family, slowly but surely making some progress. And we know that the whistleblowers will be testifying for all of America to see. And of course, we're asking ourselves, what does Kevin McCarthy, the Speaker of the House, have to say about all this? Because he can rally the votes and he can lead some efforts, let's say impeachment or something. Here is Kev.
Why would you wait the statute of limitation when it came to Hunter Biden to the most serious problems and he would not be held accountable for that or pay taxes on that? And how could you move so fast if it's somebody you disagree with philosophically, like a President Trump, and you could move real quick to indict there? The equal justice is a defining moment of this nation. We know over at the Supreme Court, you got Lady Justice there that has a blindfold and a scale that's supposed to be equal. Everything we have watched from this point forward, they treat people differently based upon their political beliefs. And that is wrong, and we're going to get to the bottom of it, and we're going to stop it.
Some people sit in solitary confinement. Other people are bailed out by the vice president. So Democrats now want Republicans who are even asking questions about their side, who are bringing whistleblowers out to light. They want them investigated. And it is the chilling of speech, in my opinion, a direct threat against other congresspeople. Rep. Garcia, Rep. Comer, directly threatening James Comer because they have been able to unearth something damaging for their side.